Hello, let us look at some previous exam questions together. So the first one here, which ratio represents the secant of A? Secant is the reciprocal of cosine of A. What is angle A right over here? Cosine would have been 24 over 25. But secant is a reciprocal of that, so we get 25 over 24, which is choice 1. All right, let's move on to the second question. In the diagram below, we're looking for cosine. Cosine basically means we're looking at x value of the unit circle. Where is my x value? Right over here. OS. So choice 4 becomes our answer. Now in this case, what are we going to do? What's the sine of 60? That's right, it's radical 3 over 2. And then cosine of 60, that's 1/2. So once you multiply them, we get radical 3 over 4, which is choice 4 becomes our answer. Number 4. So what is 5 pi over 6? If you remember, pi over 6 was equal to 30 degrees. So we have 5 of those, so we are looking at sine of 150 degrees. Now, if you have to look at 150 degrees, you know that it's from the second quadrant. Because this is more than 90 degrees. That means, what do you realize about sine on the second quadrant? It's positive. And then what's the reference angle? That would be 180 minus 150, which is 30 degrees. So we know that sine of 150 is equal to positive sine of 30 degrees. Then what's sine of 30? That's 1/2. So our answer is choice 1. What is sine of 190 equal to? If I have to give you a quick sketch, 190 is a bit more than 180 in a way that it will be on the third quadrant. Then therefore we are looking at negative values. Now what's the reference angle? That's right, it's equal to 10, because 10 degrees, 190 is 10 degrees more than 180. So we get choice 1 becomes the answer. Now here we have cosine is positive. Which two quadrants do we have cosine to be positive? Here and here. While secant is negative. Oh, my bad. Cosine is positive. Cosine is positive here and here. That's what I meant. Cosecant is negative. Cosecant is 1 over sine. And then when you take the reciprocal, sine doesn't change. So we get 1 over sine. 1 over sine is negative. That means sine has to be negative. And we know that sine is negative on the third and fourth quadrant. So our answer is fourth quadrant, which is choice 4. Number 7. Which expression is always equal to 1? Then we know that sine squared plus cosine squared is equal to 1, which is choice 2, because cosine squared plus sine squared would be equal to 1 as well. Number 8. Conjugate here basically means you have to change the sign in front of I here, which we get 1/2 minus 3 over 2i, which is choice 2. Number 9. Let's multiply them together. So here when you multiply these two, we get x squared over 16. And these two becomes plus x over 12. And this becomes minus x over 12. Lastly, it becomes 1 over 9. So these two middle terms cancels out. So we get x squared over 16 minus 1 over 9, which is choice 2. Number 10. So this basically means f of g of 1/2. These two means exactly the same. So then what is g of 1/2? That's what I need to figure out first. That means g of 1/2 basically means 1 over 1/2. Now, that means reciprocal of 1/2. That's basically what it is. So we get 2 as our answer. So then this basically is equal to f of 2, because g of 1/2 is equal to 2. Then when you plug in 2 in place of x, then you will get 4 times 2 minus x squared. Then, 2 squared. Then we end up getting 4 becomes our answer, choice 4. Number 11. So here we have sine of A, and then angle is in quadrant 1, and B is in quadrant 2. Now, then what is cosine of A minus B? That's equal to cosine of A times cosine of B plus sine of A and then sine of B. Now in case of sine of A, we know that is equal to 12 over 13. And then cosine of B is equal to negative 3 over 5. Now, to figure out cosine of A, we can get it from sine of A. Do a quick triangle, and sine of A is equal to 12 over 13. That means opposite is 12 for this angle, and hypotenuse is 13. That means adjacent side must be 5, 5, 12, 13 triangle. So then we get 5 over 13. And lastly, sine of B becomes, coming from here, in the second quadrant, we know that sine is always positive. So then, since cosine is 3 over 5, then this third side must be equal to 4. Then sine here becomes 4 over 5. Then once you get it, we get negative 15 over 65 plus 48 over 65, which will be equal to 33 over 65. That becomes our final answer. Number 12. Exact value of this one. That's equal to 1 over sine of 60 degrees. But what's sine of 60? That's 1 over radical 3 over 2. Which is, this is the same thing as 2 over square root of 3. Then how do you rationalize the denominator? You're going to multiply top and bottom by radical 3. Then we get 2 radical 3 over 3. That becomes our final answer. Number 13. All you have to do is plug in 1 through 4 in this expression. So let's call this one as n, and we have negative n squared plus 1. So when I plug in the 1, 2, 3, 4, plug in 1 here, we get negative 1 squared plus 1, which is equal to 0. But on the other hand, if I put 2 over here, then we get negative 2 squared plus 1, which is equal to negative 3. Thirdly, negative 3 squared plus 1 becomes negative 8. Lastly, when I plug in 4, negative 4 squared plus 1, then that becomes negative 15. Then when you add them up, we get negative 26. That becomes our final answer. Alright, let's look at number 14. When you look through this one, you can see that sine squared plus cosine squared is equal to 1. So I can rewrite this one as 1 over 1 minus cosine squared x. But we know that 1 minus cosine squared is equal to 1 over sine squared x. Now, but that's equal to cosecant square of x. So that's it. Number 15. What is the exact value of cosine of 75? We can rewrite it as cosine of 30 degrees plus 45 degrees. Then that's equal to cosine of 30 times sine of 30, not sine, cosine of 45, and minus sine of 30 and sine of 45. Sine of 30 is equal to radical 3 over 2 times radical 2 over 2, and then here minus 1/2 and times radical 2 over 2. Then we get to see that square root of 6 over 2 minus radical 2 over 2. 4. Denominators are 4, which is equal to radical 6 minus radical 2 over 4 becomes our final answer. Number 16. How do you prove this one? I can make the tangent as sine x over cosine of x. plus here these two, cosine of x over sine of x. Now what I can do here is I can multiply both sides by sine x cosine of x. Then we get, no, actually not multiplying that one, having that as common denominator, we get sine of x times cosine of x. Then here we get sine square x plus cosine square x. Then we know that this is equal to 1 over sine of x and cosine of x. That's exactly how we have done it. Okay, that's it. I guess we'll stop here, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.